Hi, my name is Cale Sanderson, and this is my final presentation for entrepreneurship consulting. I originally had the whole Zoom recording of my client recorded, but the file is corrupt, so I'm going over it again as if you were my client, and kind of talk about what they thought and their thoughts at different sections of my presentation. So, starting out, I just wanted to remind them about what core issues that they're facing, what my understanding of what they were going through. So, that was that their current storytelling and online efforts aren't reaching enough potential customers to drive stronger growth. They currently have services online where they coach others, they have wellness programs, and they try to make others have just live a healthy lifestyle, whether that's physically or mentally. And there was just some things I saw that they were struggling with, and I think that their storytelling online might be um, a roadblock for the conversions that they're wanting to see and the impact they're wanting to create. So for my approach, how I went about this whole project, so I broke it up into three phases. First phase being the current state where they're currently at in their business. I looked at their value proposition to make sure what their customers are looking for is what they're providing to them to see if any tweaks need to be made. I looked at their website, YouTube, and social platforms to make sure that their branding was good, as well as that they're targeting their customers in the right strategies. And I also did a client journey map to look how the client first finds them all the way until booking them and maintaining a relationship. And then from there, using that data, I want to see where they want to be in the future, which is the phase two. Looking at their website storytelling to make sure that their website is directly corresponding to the value proposition and that they're sharing the value that customers are looking for. And then in YouTube strategies, identifying what needs to be better on their YouTube. They have over 100,000 subscribers, so just maybe find a better strategy that will allow them to grow their audience more and get more conversions to their website. And then also just create some simple SEO or just some general strategies for social media to improve targeting their audience. And then in the roadmap, this is kind of after I give them an overload of information, how they can turn that into initiatives and then a timeline. So going straight into the observations, I'll start with the value proposition map. So we'll focus on the right side first, which is the customer profile. They're looking for something that's going to improve staff health and energy. They want to reduce burnout, whether that's mental wellness as well as physical. And they want the programs to be credible and they want to meet their HR initiatives. I know, like, where I'm going to work at, there's a bunch of initiatives and you get points if you go to different wellness things or healthy just practices, and it can lower your insurance, but there's also rewards that you get. So these are just some things that HR is looking for. And some pains that they have is, like I said, fatigue, low engagement, whether that's wellness wise or just on their day to day. The employees just don't have the motivation and time constraints. They're looking for something that is going to be valuable for the employees' time so the employees don't feel like they just wasted an hour of their day and they didn't get any value out of it. And some pain relief they're looking for is something that's easy to implement, flexible for all sorts of employees, whether that's online, hybrid, or fully in person, and they want to make sure that whatever it is aligns well with their culture. So, what Zanya and Scott are the service they're providing, what that correlates directly to the customer profile, is they have live wellness sessions, they have online courses, they have tons of resources for members, and they do custom packages. So, this directly goes to a lot of the pains and pain relief that the customers are looking for. And the game creators is that they're trying to reduce the stress and the burnout. They want to improve daily habits of people, and therefore have higher engagement with their day-to-day tasks, but also in wellness sessions. And they want to be sustainable and just have a stronger workplace culture. Some pain relief would be they provide some easy solutions. It's expert led. Zanya has amazing experience and the flexible delivery formats, like I said, and it's scalable for any size of organization. It could be a very, very small one or it could be a very large one. They have all the resources that that company would need. So going on from this, the key takeaway is that they're directly everything that the customer is looking for. Zanya and Scott, they're bringing that value to them, and that's something really important to know leading into what's coming next, especially in the recommendations. So I looked at their website. Their website was amazing. It's very strong. It has all the information and resources you can need. You could tell a lot of time has gone into this, and they've hired someone to do their website. So it's very professional. I did think that their about section could use just a little bit more storytelling in terms of like how they started and kind of include more of that value proposition we just went over. My biggest takeaway is that the wellness section in the drop downs, it goes recipes, worksite, community wellness, and then eat real for your health and diet free. Eat real for your health and diet free are one of their biggest packages for worksite and community wellnesses. But when you go into the actual worksite and community wellness page, it's at the very bottom. And I would think that if HR or someone were to go on their website, they would go worksite and community wellness, and they might miss those two at the very bottom. So maybe just have a clear connection of those within the actual worksite and community wellness and identify those a little bit better. And then going into their LinkedIn was amazing. It's really effective in terms of the posts that they're creating. It's exactly what we want to see. It's organized. They're including links. They're getting the necessary like comments. She's commenting on other people and they're commenting on her. She's doing a great job of interacting with others. They don't use any hashtags, so that's something that I thought could improve their reach, especially because if you look on the right, they have a good following, but she only has about 4 reactions and stuff. And I think that if she uses hashtags, she could probably target who's exactly she's looking for. And then they also have tons of data from all of the different wellness programs that they've done. So emphasizing that data in these would be amazing, especially for like an HR were to see it. Data is what's going to sell companies. And then going into their YouTube, they have a really, really impressive YouTube account. They have over 100,000 subscribers. Their thumbnails are great. Their descriptions are amazing. They don't have any hashtags, so that's not as big of a deal in terms of long format YouTube videos. But if you look at their videos, on their whole YouTube channel, all the ones that are over like 20 minutes, they have the higher views, and they don't do any shorts currently. But all the ones that could be potentially turned into shorts, the ones that are like less than 10 minutes, those are getting the very smaller views. And that's because YouTube is really trying to push shorter videos as shorts, and the long form videos as actual YouTube videos. So that's just something that I think they could potentially pivot and have a new strategy on their YouTube to gain more of an audience and then push out the longer videos to build more of authority. And we'll get into that later. So this is a client journey map. We'll go over it real fast. So the client is currently they either look for someone that can do workplace wellness, they are going to a conference that Zanya's speaking at, or they're getting referrals from peers or HR. And then after that, they're looking at her website, they're comparing her to others, they're looking at her credibility, her costs, and the flexibility that she has. And then if they do decide that they want to go with her, they're going to select a program. They're going to make sure it aligns internally with HR or just leadership, and they need to get that approved. And then they're going to promote that program internally, and they're going to enroll all of their staff, and they're going to make sure that everyone's using the resources that Zanya is giving them. And then afterwards, they're going to review the engagement and feedback from their employees and kind of discover if this is like a long-term relationship they want with Zanya. And what I have seen in this journey is I asked them what they thought, and they said that this is exactly how it goes for them. And I have seen that I think that the consideration is probably where the most bottleneck is at. They're getting people to search for them because they have a great following. But I think that customers get a little bit confused on this consideration right here. And this is the most important one because this is where you sell the client. And if you don't have that value proposition being told there, then you'll lose them automatically. So going into the key takeaways, they have a really great, strong foundation. The consideration stage is the big bottleneck, and that decision part, it just needs clarity. You don't need to convince someone; they just need clarity on what they're going to be provided. So going into my recommendations, we'll start out with the website storytelling. So, like I just said, when a customer were to go on their website, on the wellness page, it's a little confusing because diet free and eat real for your health are at the very bottom. So, in order to kind of show that value straight away for corporate wellness, um, they said that, or I thought that they should update the section drop down. So if you look at the bottom left, include wellness and then keep the recipes, and then have worksite and community wellness as one whole tab. And then underneath that, have an overview, and then eat real for your health and diet free. And then when you go into the overview, I want this to be at the top. It says Zanya's top picks. So it's directly her calling out the things that provide the most impact for customers. And when I told them this, I asked for their feedback, and they said that some of the reason that it's at the bottom is because they have online courses before those that they sell more than the wellness programs, just because the online courses are individualized. So I told them that they could easily like keep Eat Real for Your Health on one side, and then like include one of the online courses instead of diet free, just so they can kind of expand and make sure that they're targeting both their companies, because that builds the best long-term relationship, but also individuals, so they can still make an impact there. And then also, I'd like for them, they mentioned to me in my first meeting with them that they want a video kind of explaining the wellness program and what that looks like. So I gave them just an outline of a video that they can do, starting out with talking about the problems organizations face, and then exactly who Zanya is, and then overview of what worksite wellness is and what they offer, and then maybe highlighting one of those, like Eat Real for Your Health, and talking about why it's recommended, why it delivers the most impact, and who's it's for, whether that's different sorts of companies, and then talk about how companies can start, learning more about it and how they can book Zanya, and then maybe talk about some of the outcomes they had of Lee Schools, because they mentioned they want to have more Lee Schools as customers. So talk about the data that Lee Schools has had. They have a ROI for Lee Schools, and to share that within this little value creation part, and then at the very end a call to action to really encourage all the customers to book them. I just think that this would really articulate the value that customers are looking for, and just to have this at the top would really help. So going into the next one, this is exactly how I see that page layout wise would look. So at the start, this is what it currently almost looks like. The worksite community wellness is already there. So instead of a picture on the left, I replaced it with the potential video. And then right underneath that would be Zanya's top picks, where it could be Eat Real for Your Health. And then it could be one of the online courses. And then after that could be the rest of the services they provide, because there's about 10 of those. I just overall, I think this would run a lot more smoothly, and I think that customers would see better impact of what value that they would be receiving in this sort of layout. And then from there, they have the great layout once they do that, but now they need to target their customers more to get them actually onto their website to see all that. So for the YouTube, since they have 100,000 subscribers, they're doing a great job. Their long form videos are working, but they need more of an audience, and they need more people seeing that, because only about a fourth of their current subscribers are seeing their long form videos. So they need to continue to grow that subscriber count, and that the views will just continue to grow on their long form videos, and they'll do that by YouTube Shorts. So right now, since um, I guess everyone's like time span and like attention span is getting shorter and shorter with like TikTok and all these other social medias, everyone's becoming more lazy, like with AI. So YouTube Shorts, that's really being pushed by YouTube. You're able to get way more views and way more of an audience through YouTube Shorts. So taking those short videos that they're currently doing, trying to do long form, and pushing those into YouTube Shorts, they can post these quicker instead of the one every month that they're doing now. They can do like 2 or 3 a week. And this is going to allow them to grow their audience. And then once they have their audience, they can use the long form videos to build more credibility and trust, and do more program explanations, case studies, do more deep dives into what they provide. And hopefully that would turn more people onto their website and lead to more conversions. And then overall social media strategies for YouTube and LinkedIn. I'm talking about hashtags are just the SEO for social media. And when I asked them about hashtags, they have no idea what a hashtag was. So I kind of explained to them that the content that they're creating is like the food at a dinner. And then the hashtag is like the plate. So you're putting all your content on that plate, and you're serving it directly to your customer. And that hashtag is how you get it to them. So in terms of a hashtag, you want to use 3 to 5 hashtags per post. You want to place them at the end, and I gave them some specific hashtags they would want to use on LinkedIn and YouTube. So on LinkedIn, They could talk about HR, school administrators, talk about what workplace wellness or employee burnout, and they're trying to reach decision makers at this part. And then in YouTube, they want to include hashtags or keywords in the video title, and then in the video description, actually use hashtags. And then, especially for shorts descriptions, that's probably the biggest part since it doesn't really know who you're targeting in those. So if you include the hashtags, you can go directly to who you're trying to target. So whether that's wellness, mental health, employee health, and then the shorts impact, I mean, like I said, the hashtags are huge there, and if they use the right hashtags, they'll be able to really grow their audience. Looking at the roadmap, so what I've currently done, this is what we've gone through in terms of observations and the recommendations I've given them, and to kind of correlate those. So we talked about your value proposition, clarifying the service offerings that are valuable to your clients and what they're looking for, and make sure that we had that on the website storytelling that we went over, and just make sure that the core messages and the layout is providing the value that the customers are looking for, so that they see it straight away. And then the brand and marketing analysis, we want to make sure that they're effectively targeting their customers while also ensuring that their brand message is getting across. And we showed that during the YouTube strategies as well as the social media strategies in terms of hashtags and how they can better use their YouTube to provide more conversions online. And then overall, just the client journey. We looked at the client journey map, and hopefully, all three of these will allow the client journey to run more smoothly. And that bottleneck that I talked about, if they were to fix this, these things would be able to kind of fix that. So, this is kind of a look back at everything that I've gone over. And now I gave them a lot of information. So, here's some of initiatives that they can do. So one, merging the wellness on the website, like I talked about. Create the Zania's top picks to highlight those ones that were originally at the bottom. Also add a guided decision path. So if a customer was like, I have no idea where to start or what I should choose, kind of like a map where you can say, okay, here's my goal, and it goes down a list of questions, and it ends up exactly at the one that they should start at. And then produce that 90 to 120-second video talking about their worksite wellness, and then standardize their hashtag strategies. So maybe make a list for LinkedIn, make a list for YouTube, and maybe even their Facebook as they try to get into that more. And then also six, feed that long form content through shorts, or just after they film a huge video, whip out their phone and do a quick short about what they just did and post that and use the hashtag so they can grow their audience. So I put all of that into an actual timeline for them. So in month one, that's focusing on their website, and that's with like the wellness tab, the Zania's top picks, and the not sure where to start, because that's really important because they need to share that value for customers before they do anything else. And then by month three, hopefully have a video produced and put that into the website and make sure that the flow is working. So it's highlighting the story, then the top picks, and then all of their offerings. And then hopefully in 6 months, they can have preset hashtags that they're using regularly that are aligned with who they're trying to target, and then use shorts and have a good idea of how to make shorts 2 to 3 times a week to funnel viewers into their long form videos, and then eventually into their online pages. And the goal by the end of 6 months is to increase client intake and online conversion by 10%. So overall conclusion, they're making a great impact. They're teaching people where to start on creating better habits day to day. And I think that if they implement what I gave them, they're just going to continue to have more reach and more impact. And their networking is amazing, and they're going to just continue to bloom and go forth and make change in so many people's lives. So thank you.